Everyone, welcome to Triple Play Fantasy. This is Beyond the Analyst interview series. I'm your host, Zach at FF Triple Batman. Make sure while you're on here, you go ahead, like, subscribe, all that great stuff to support Triple Play Fantasy. If you have not tuned in to the first 11 episodes of season 2, you're missing out. Make sure you go check them out on the playlist. And we also have 30 episodes from season 1, a lot of great interviews. Today, I am joined by the wonderful Go Blue herself, Lexi. How are you doing today, Lexi?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So Lexi is the co-host of The Weekenders on Multiplicity Media Group, and if you didn't guess it already by her handle, a massive University of Michigan and Detroit sports fan. So Lexi, I know you love fantasy football. You have wonderful takes about it, I am sure, but that is not why we're here today. We are still in the off season as we do get closer to the season. So I like to have people from the fantasy football space come on and let everyone get to know you a little bit better, and then we'll save the fantasy takes for another time.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So happy to have you on the show. So we'll start with an easy one. I hope it's an easy question for you. How did you become such a big University of Michigan fan?
My entire life, I think the earliest picture I have, I'm like 2.5, 3 years old in this little Michigan cheerleading outfit. Total opposite of like the cheerleading thing later on the road. But, I grew up my whole life 20 minutes north of Ann Arbor. So it just kind of was, I like to say born and raised blue and maize because it's just since birth, it just wasn't really a thing of a choice. It's just how it happened. And the family laid the ground and I've been loving it ever since.
Absolutely. So there was never a thought of Michigan State.
And I won't say that because to be honest, and I don't even mean this in kind of like a petty way, but growing up, they just were like, we beat them all, in the 90s, early 2000s. So I didn't like dislike them. Like I never really considered them like a hardcore rival. Like I always did Ohio State. Like that's like bred in. If you're a Michigan fan from birth, like born to hate Ohio State, that's what it is. So, but Michigan State, it really wasn't until like I got into Twitter that I'm like, wow, Michigan State fans are something else. Like this is crazy. Like I grew up with like friends that few and far between were state fans, but I was just so close to the Ann Arbor area, so it wasn't really till like college and stuff I got to like interact more, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a big rivalry too. Screw those people, like but it's good.
That was something we learned from the internet. It's a lot of rational people out there in
Yeah,
Twitters.
yeah, especially in-state rivals. I mean, obviously, it's like I guess the hate is there for Ohio State, but like the in-state just gets a little bit toxic, and you're like, oh boy. I mean, if anyone watched the game last year, you saw that tunnel incident and all that stuff. So it's just unfortunate sometimes, but yeah, it's just as heated as Ohio State these days.
I understand. I went to Virginia Tech, so UVA was our big in-state rival, and back then we went 4-0 when I was in school against them in football, and I think it ended up being like 15 in a row, and then we finally lost a game. So rivalry is a strong word for that sport. There was plenty of other sport. I mean, they won a national title in basketball, so they are a great school as well. But yeah, we we definitely didn't enjoy UVA. I'll put it that way. And my
Yeah,
one
that's a good
connection
way. I don't enjoy it.
my one connection with the University of Michigan, my aunt actually went there, and then eventually her daughter, my cousin, did. But for a long time, I always wore a Michigan hat. I don't know why. I'm
The
from Maryland,
brand,
but like,
baby, it's always been
yeah,
relevant. Like I love
yeah,
it.
I just wanted. I think because she went there, I like it was always interesting to me, and then it was time to finally apply to colleges. And one, out of state, that place is expensive. Two,
Yeah.
it is way too cold for me. I'm trying to move a little further south. I live in Florida now, if that helps you. And then three, they wanted me to write like five like entrance exams, like for the application that were completely different from any exam I did on any other application. I didn't even apply. I'm like, it's not worth it. Like, it's a great
Yeah.
school. And that's as far as I got with them. I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
they set their standards very high. I mean, as working there, I work at the School of Business. So, I mean, the full-time MBA program is like one of the top 5 in the world. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's like, okay, or like top 10 in the world. Don't quote me on that, but close up there. So, it's pretty crazy. I could
Uh,
never, like, I went to
no, no.
Eastern. So.
Amazing school. I was not writing 5 essays as a senior in high school. I'm so sorry, Michigan. I guess
Yeah.
maybe I was even a junior back then, but yeah. Well, that's great. So, I mean, it makes sense you're a Michigan fan. You're from there. You bleed the blue. And I know it's also really important is health and nutrition is a huge priority for you. I've been on a kind of a little health journey myself for the last few years. So what motivates you to work out and to really kind of focus on your health?
Yeah, I mean, I was always like athletic growing up. Always kind of like was in shape and just, obviously over the years, like, it just let myself go and got to a point where it was almost like on the verge of diabetes, like high blood pressure, everything. My doctor kind of said, like, listen, you got to get your stuff together. So really originally I know like the story that I post on Twitter is like since 2000 like 19 or 20, but like it was really 2017, 18 I started, and I lost like 80 pounds in 5 months, but like it was all the natural way. Like I'd cut out alcohol back then, fast food, and meal prepped every single day. So I think once I like got that, and then I kind of slacked a little bit, and then that was kind of like when my new journey started. But it's really just the way I motivate myself is I like to be like a control freak about things. I like to control everything and kind of a downfall, but I realize I can't really control anything in life besides what I do. So, I just kind of said, all right, I got to get out of my own way and just do this. And, I know you saw how crazy I was in the beginning of the year, like working out at 4 or 5 a.m. And it was super intense, but my best friend, she's my personal trainer too. So she's really someone to like thank going along, like Holly Grace Fitness, if anyone ever, or HD Fitness. You want to look it up on Instagram. But yeah, it's really just about motivating myself to like be the best I can be. And I challenge myself and I talk shit to myself when I'm like slacking. Like today, after this, I definitely got to go work out because I haven't worked out today. So I got to win those apple competitions. You know what I'm saying? um,
Absolutely.
but but yeah, it's really just it's me against me. I've always been in my own way, and I finally realized that, and now I know that I can control it. It's kind of just like an obsession, but in a good way now. So
Yeah, I like it kind of it becomes a lifestyle, if that makes sense.
yeah, you have to make it a lifestyle because if you don't, it won't stick. And I've learned that so many times I've done this, and started, and I'm just super focused now, so I'm excited for it.
No, that's awesome. I like to talk to different people about their journey because, like I said, I've been on mine for almost like 2.5 years now, and
Nice.
it's interesting because, like you said, back in the day, athletic, high metabolism, eat whatever you want, it doesn't really matter, and then next thing you know, a few years go by, you pretend like you don't have time to work out, and uh, I mean, they say the dad bod's in, but I was still not in a healthy spot. And even
Right.
like mentally working out just helps a lot too. So it was great I never thought I'd ever go on a diet, and it doesn't feel like I'm on a diet. Like I can find a way to enjoy what I eat no matter what I'm eating and still be quote unquote healthy.
Well,
So
that's the
yeah, I
key
definitely.
too, because
Mhm.
people want to just cut things out. I mean, I've cut out alcohol and fast food, but that was just because that's just what's necessary. But like people like deprive themselves, and you're gonna fail because you just got to do everything in moderation,
Mhm.
every single thing. So if you can get that down, yeah, I still have Oreos, ice cream, like once in a while, and not like every day like I used to. But it's just about control.
Yeah, being miserable is not sustainable.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and honestly, even working out has to be in moderation. Like, you can't go crazy. Like, that's not good for your body either. So, like, it
No.
is funny how you say that. Like, it is all about moderation. I think that's what a lot of people just struggle to like make that push. Like, I'll try it tomorrow. I'll just start next week. And I just always tell them, just try it, go for it, just try to stick with
Yeah.
it. That's why I kind of use my, like you said, a little self motivation. I like to post a lot on Twitter. I don't anymore much about all that, but I did for a while because it just helped kind of keep me accountable. Um,
Hmm.
because
Well,
I could
for
tell people were interacting with my post of whether it was helping them, inspire them, or just they were encouraging me. And I was like, hey, I got to get my workout in and do my daily challenge so I can post about it and get that support. So I get it.
Yeah. And I think one thing that I've been thriving on too, and like I think when I was posting about it a lot, I'm not trying to like rub it in people's faces or be like, haha, see what I can do. Like I've had so many people reach out to me, like, I mean, countless now that like I've inspired them. They're on this health kick. They've lost 20 pounds. They started running again. I'm like, that's awesome to me. Like that also motivates me, because I want everyone to feel as good as I do. It's not like a competition. I'm not in competition with nobody else. I want to see everybody win. So it's like, if you can do what I do or do something along those lines, then yeah, like that's awesome, and I'll always support that.
Absolutely. I got the same feelings. So it is funny when people just want to get. It's almost like I don't know if it's like jealousy or they're dealing with their own things and they like just try to attack you. Like, all right, cool, you do you, man, or woman. But like,
And I'll
it's not
say
about
like
that.
the older I've gotten, and this is like the like wisest thing that I could ever tell anybody is like whatever someone else does, like that's a reflection on them. Like it has nothing to do with you. Like your positivity is going to always rub somebody miserable the wrong way, no matter what you do. And you can't please everybody. I spent a long time trying to figure those things out. And honestly, when you can grasp that, these people just say mean things. I'm like, you know what? I hope you heal because you clearly need to, and
Yeah,
and that's just really what you got to hit them with. Kill them with kindness, and they'll stop.
yeah. Or the mute button, also wonderful
Yeah,
as
that
well.
too. That
Uh,
definitely too.
I've met some awesome people on Twitter and social media on the internet, however you want to phrase it. I've met some of them in person. Sometimes I've never met them in person, but like I feel like we're friends. But there's also plenty of people like I don't know who you are. I don't care what you say. Like again, just move on, ignore whatever. Like whatever you're saying to me is not going to impact me in any way. But I appreciate the clicks, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just like, you know what? You win. I'm good. Like I'm just
Yeah.
too positive these days. Sometimes I can get a little, feisty, but you gotta even it out a little bit.
Absolutely. So to transition it to another hobby of yours, I believe, we need to talk video games because I believe you're a huge video game fan, correct?
I am. Yeah. I haven't like been as much this like last year, or I should say like 8 months, because I just been so focused on working out and like every day. But yeah, I've been a gamer all my life. I think the first system I ever had was Sega. Dating
Playing
myself a
Sonic.
bit
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Sonic, Wheel of Fortune, even that Home Alone game, NBA Jam, all of it. But through the years I've had every console, and my mom just always would say, like, every Christmas I had like I'd ask for the new console or like, new games. And, she just said how much money she poured into my gaming habit. And, I had to move back home a few years back, like just for like a year to kind of gather some stuff. And I was playing like GTA 5, in like the living room, and she came home and like literally she just sets down the groceries and she's like, I thought you would grow out of this someday. Like, I'm like sitting there like with my PlayStation controller, like, what do you mean? But no, I've yeah. My boyfriend's a huge gamer. Like he is like way more into like than me, but he definitely brought some of that back for me. So it's just great. It's a nice outlet. Like you said, working out, that's like what gaming is. And everyone needs to have their thing.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite all-time platform? I know you said you started with Sega, but going through the years is our favorite.
Yeah, N64, man, was just great. I never really had any other Nintendo system. I have the Switch now, but like that was like the only one I had. And I don't know if it was like the controllers too, and whatnot, but it's tied between that and PlayStation 2, because PlayStation 2 was just revolutionary in itself. So I love the games on N64, and you think like Super Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, Mario Party, all of that. Like, and I think nostalgia like plays a part in a lot of stuff that I'm like obsessed with still, because I just wish I could be a kid again. But yeah, it's either N64 or PlayStation 2 for me.
No, I respect that. I still have my N64. It still works.
Mine got stolen like
Oh, that's terrible.
20 years or 15 years ago. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, no, but I think it was just, I mean, I think we're probably around the same age based on you talking about video games. So that was kind of my peak time of playing video games was N64. I eventually had the GameCube, PlayStation 2, all that. But like you said, like Mario Kart 64, Super Mario Party, Super Mario 64. I mean, we had GoldenEye,
Donkey
Perfect
Kong,
Dark,
Donkey
yeah,
Kong
Donkey Kong, Diddy
Country,
Kong
like
Racing. Yeah,
yeah,
there's so many games. That I mean, I mean, Xbox had like Halo when I got a little bit older and
oh
stuff like
yeah,
that, and that was fun
Halo,
too. And then we got Call of Duty with PlayStation and Xbox, and I get
yeah.
all that. But like that prime Zelda on N64,
Oh
like it
yeah.
was, I can't beat
007,
N64. Yeah,
GoldenEye. Like I'm playing on the Switch now, and this is not as good as I remember. I'm like, I remember
yeah,
how much those controls used to piss me off. It was like opposite, like
yep.
you had to like look up to go down. It just bugs me. But
And I remember thinking like, oh, and even like Tony Hawk, but I remember like thinking like the graphics are amazing, and
oh
then now I
yeah.
play it and I'm like, oh, these are rough, but I still have fun.
Did you ever buy the remastered Tony Hawk 1 and 2?
Yeah, I have it on my PS3
Yeah. It like it just I have it on the PS5. It just doesn't hit the same as it used to. I know
or PS4, but yeah, no, it's definitely not the same nostalgia. It looks incredible,
yeah,
and it
the
is fun.
graphics look great.
Yeah, because my son is not old enough to be able to handle that kind of game, but he loves watching me play that one. So
Oh
it's always fun to just
yeah.
like ride around and play with it and let him listen to that music and stuff like that. But
I
yeah,
know.
it's
Some
definitely
of the
not the
best
same as the
soundtracks
original.
came off those games.
100%. Oh no, see, we could talk about this all day.
You're right.
But transitioning to another question, there's always new content creators joining this space, this community, whether it's on Twitter or now TikTok, YouTube, all over the place, or even people just thinking about trying to finally break into the space. Do you have any advice for those content creators that are just starting out?
It's never too late to follow your dream on it. I randomly, what, 2 years ago now, threw out a tweet on Twitter, was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing content creation. Now, granted, I talk football and basketball like all my life. I'm like, well, why don't I do it like on a platform? You just do it, get out there, have, ask friends to like just share it and maybe get something out. I had someone like that follows me that had a lot of followers boost it for me. And that's kind of like what got all of this rolling. And now I've got even, I will say it's going to take a little bit to maybe make money off of it. I was explaining, to everyone listening, I was explaining to Zach earlier, I do have an opportunity coming up that where I'll actually be able to content create and actually have a stipend on it. And it's like 2 years in the making to make a little extra cash on this, but you always just stick with it. If you love it enough, this is my passion. It's not my main job, but it's something I love to do. And I would just say don't ever give up on it, because there's always someone looking to talk. There's always someone looking to give them your, or like give you their opinion on what you like think as well. So there's always going to be room for it, and just yeah, keep your head up, because it gets a little rough sometimes and you like want to get discouraged, but it'll pay off in the end as long as you're dedicated.
Awesome. Yep. Love the advice, love the positivity, and absolutely. I mean, I was already doing research anyway to try to win my league, so why not just talk about it now?
Right? Exactly. And I mean,
Yeah.
fantasy is like, I mean, that's a huge community, and a very supportive one. Like I've noticed that, like, especially like on Twitter, it's like, it's just like a close knit family. I mean, obviously you're going to get, sometimes people get clicky and whatnot. That's going to happen in anything you do, but it seems like a really good community to be a part of. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say in general, maybe 99% is too high, but we'll go with 99%. I would say the community is very supportive, and even though it is very competitive, like everybody wants to see everyone succeed. And I mean, I could
Absolutely.
reach out to some of the biggest names in the industry, be like, hey, I have a question about this, or can you look at this? What do you think of that? They'll respond back, and they'll be very
Mhm.
helpful because they were there at one point too. So like networking feels really weird for some people and gets really kind of stressful. And like even when I have to send out like these cold DMs to people like, hey, do you want to come on my show? Like it does feel weird, but I promise you that most people are really nice. And worst case scenario, they just ignore you, which isn't even that bad. So it's
No,
okay.
it could always be worse.
Absolutely. So that was the last, we'll call it the serious questions. Would you like to answer some rapid fire questions?
Hit me with them. Let's do
All
this.
right.
Rapid fire questions.
So you can answer with one word. You can give me an entire paragraph, whatever you need to. You feel like you need the context you need for the question. But we're gonna start off with a good one. This is an inside joke for anyone that's on your Twitter from. I feel like it was like a week ago. So when this comes out, maybe like 2 weeks ago. Classic. But what is your favorite Little Debbie snack if you can only choose one?
um, Oatmeal cream pies. And just a special shout out to my friend AD on that one. Yeah, it definitely those. I could eat so many.
Now, I do have to ask, and I won't fill in the whole story. I let people just, search your Twitter for the
Yeah,
post we're talking
definitely
about.
search that thread. It's
Did
not
you notice
spelled
what you
CREAM either.
did you notice how what you were commenting on, or did it not
No,
register? Okay.
no. So this guy is just a total like he just um posts crazy shit all the time. And I was just scrolling down, and everyone on my timeline had been answering that question. I think I said chips and salsa, and I just saw, the oatmeal cream pie at the bottom, and I didn't see at the top half of the picture. And just said, yeah, because you give me a box of oatmeal cream pies, you can even ask my boyfriend, I will smash an entire box if you give it to me. So yeah, and then it was funny. I said, "Oh, I could eat so many of those," and then I was doing my Weekenders podcast. It was last week, and it's like an hour long. I come back, and it's just pure chaos on Twitter. I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" I was so confused, and then I was like, "Oh boy, well." And I couldn't delete it at that point because too many people had
Oh no.
shared
You,
it.
you you just gotta own it. It's just funny.
Yeah, I just gotta roll with the punches sometimes.
Absolutely. So for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, just go ahead and search Lexi's Twitter. You'll get a good laugh. So we'll move on to the next one. How many holes does a straw have?
2? I mean, it's like, I know there's 2 holes, right? Like,
It's been a hot
one.
topic debate. Some say there's one. It's just one long hole like a tunnel. Some say it's 2 holes. It's one on each end.
Yeah, because there's
I feel
like,
like it's one of
you
those
have like a
philosophical
tunnel.
questions.
There's 2 holes. That's like mind blowing. That
Yeah.
really is.
I don't think there's a right answer. I just like to kind of stir up a little bit of drama, if you will, with some of these questions. See, half the people are listening agree with you that there's 2 holes, and half the people are gonna disagree with you, and they think there's one.
That's how it always
So,
goes.
yep. What would your superpower be if you could have one?
Oh my gosh, probably to like move cars out of the way. Everyone's always in my way when I'm driving, and I'm like one of the most impatient drivers ever. So I even thought about that this morning on my way to Ann Arbor. Traffic is terrible around a college town, even in the summertime. And yeah, I just if I literally with my mind could just be like, and I don't want to hurt them or like mess up their car, just like lift them up so I can drive through. It would be great.
At first, when you said that, I thought like you meant like super strength. I'm like, what a unique answer. And then I was like, oh no, you literally mean move them out of the way where you're driving. I'm like, okay, telekinesis, I get it. But I'm like, you could do so much with that power. You're just thinking, I just want to get to work. You could even fly. That could have been your power. You're just like, nope, just want to move the cars out of my way.
Yeah, because I figure if I can move cars out of the way, I can move a lot of things. So it'd be kind of cool.
Fair. I appreciate that really practical, real world answer for such a ridiculous question. All right, so we have another one that could be controversial. You can only use one utensil for the rest of your life. Which one do you choose? A fork, a spoon, or a knife?
I'm gonna probably have to go with a spoon. The fork obviously like you can't eat liquid with that, and then a knife either. But I guess if I like stab something with a spoon long enough, I could cut it up or like scoop it or whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna take the spoon in this.
I think spoon's the only right answer, but I know people feel differently.
Yeah,
But
I
I don't know how
mean,
you could choose anything but the spoon.
yeah, they probably think like a knife they could like cut things or whatever, but I could make it work. I could sharpen a spoon edge.
Exactly. There's an edge on a spoon you can kind of cut.
Yeah, make it like a pointy spoon. That's how
Yeah.
sporks probably came along. Someone was like, "This spoon needs."
Exactly. Make it a spork. So my last rapid fire question for you: if you could live in any fictional universe, which one would you choose?
I probably have to say like Harry Potter, just because like I love like magic and stuff like that, and like Harry Potter is like one of my favorite things ever. I'm not like one of those like crazy Harry Potter fans, but like it's like a very comforting like thing for me, so I've watched it like 1,000 times. But I just think it would be cool, especially like the castles. Like I love like all that like old stuff, and yeah, I would say Harry Potter.
You can't go wrong with having the ability to have some magic and move all those cars out of your way.
Right? Yeah. See, it's like that's what it's meant to be.
Perfect. Well, that was the last of my rapid fire questions. I think you did great, and I really am hoping everyone goes and checks out your Twitter for that first one.
Yes, please do.
It was a classic. But thank you for coming on. Can you let everyone know where they can find you and your content?
Yeah. Ouch. So I am on Twitter, GoBlueLexi117. I'm also on Instagram, GoBlueLexi117, and then multiplicitymedia.com. You can find the episodes that are from the Weekenders that are recorded on there. And then, yeah, just stay tuned. I have an announcement coming probably this weekend, maybe Monday. I'm not sure yet, but on what's going to be happening next and where to check that stuff out. So just make sure you tune in.
Awesome. I'm very excited for your new opportunity. Thank you again for coming on the show. For those of you that like I said, are watching, make sure you go ahead, hit that like, subscribe, all that great stuff. It's an easy way to support Triple Play Fantasy. We got you covered with not just football, but basketball, baseball, even we're talking movies and food, all the great stuff here at Triple Play Fantasy. If you're listening on our podcast, go ahead, leave a review. It's a great way to support us as well. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you again, Lexi, and we'll see you all for the next interview.
Thank you.